I'm not sure who this message is meant for, but I hope it finds who it is meant to. So something that's been happening to me recently, recently when I go out, and if I'm in areas where there's like large amounts of people and there's children around, I experience occurrences where I hear adults speak to children, like small children like within the first 7 years of life. I hear adults speak to them in like condescending, mean, harsh, authoritarian, nasty ways. And I was talking to a friend about this today, and I kind of like freeze when this happens, because if you know me, then you know that when I was in my foundational years of a human, I was spoken to in those types of ways by the adults, the primary caretakers in my life. And then I went and spent all of my adult life learning how to be the opposite of that, so that I would never cause harm to a child the way that it was caused to me. So I studied and learned, and like for over 20 years I've worked professionally with children and specialize in relationship-based therapy with children and floor time and following their lead. So when I experience these things out in public, what happens is it like hits the deepest core of my heart, like my heart wound. It like hurts, and I feel what the child feels because I felt it when I was a child, which is like unsafe and scared, and felt like I didn't have a voice. And so like these kids don't have a voice either, right? Like they can't really do anything about who's caring for them. And in these situations that I've been hearing this, the way that is spoken to, or the way that the children are treated, I like kind of freeze. I don't say anything. I just work really hard to like wrap the whole situation in light and love, and walk by. I get like scared, but I don't like leaving it that way doesn't feel good either. So yesterday when this happened, I met somebody when I was leaving that lantern festival, and this woman and I were walking and chatting, and it happened with a child where a caregiver wasn't being consoling to a child that was really upset. It was kind of like, I don't know exactly what happened with this situation, but the woman that I was with turned to that child and said, "It's okay, everything's gonna be okay," and gave that child like an outside human's like kindness in a moment of being really upset when their primary caretaker wasn't being very nice or kind to them. And the child in that situation was definitely within the first 7 years, like small. So I started talking to this woman about that and how I've been hearing it happen. And it was interesting to watch her in her response to that child and like stepping in a way, addressing them. So in having a conversation with my friend today, like my friend and I, who's also a yoga teacher, were talking about this, and they were like, yeah, maybe you should try that. And I was like, you know what? I am going to try that next time. So next time, engaging with the child in a way, and not so much like trying to reprimand the adult or what are you doing, that type of thing, because that's not going to work. But in some way showing the child some care in that moment, like, oh, hey, you look so sad, or, you know, hey, it's okay, buddy, like, or something. I don't know what it will be, right? I'm going to let it be natural in the moment. But at least I have a plan now what I'm going to do the next time I experience something like this, and then see what happens there, because me not saying anything feels really wrong and hurts a lot too. So I know that part of my mission in this life is to be a voice for children and to do everything that I can in my personal power to be a safe adult for children, and treat them in loving, kind, and compassionate ways, because I was a child where that wasn't done, and I am 43, and I still can feel that pain when I see it, especially done to another child. I can like feel it. So I think we as a species, we as a human species, need to kind of get the fuck together and have some foundational things. One of these foundational things being, with our children, we treat them with loving kindness and compassion, like, period. Like, we do it. We step in when we see things that aren't kind. And in the end, I don't know how this will solve everything, but there's something in also the people and the adults that are doing it. Maybe they're doing it most likely because it was done to them, right? So there is this space If you're perhaps a person that struggles with like the way that you respond to small children in situations and they like push your buttons and then you like turn into like the mean, nasty parent that you had, there's space there for you to learn how to be different so that you don't affect the child and feel what you felt as a kid. I've done it. I learned how to do it. You can always, if you want to have a conversation with me, if this sounds interesting and you want to talk a little bit more about it, I can tell you what I do and how I've learned and how I work through it. But again, I hope this found who it is meant to, and let's create a world where children don't have to recover from their childhoods.